Okay. Got it. Everybody has it.
Got it.
I got to make sure I mute so I don't double speak. Perfect. 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to We Could Be Wrong, but Who Cares? This is your host, Christopher Harris.
This is Kevin.
This is Karen.
And Mike.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are filming. We are actually live streaming on YouTube. We're not filming. I'm very glad that everyone's here. We have shrunk down the panel yet again, and we have changed our format because we need to talk about the elephant in the room. The problem with We Could Be Wrong's conservatives are conservatives. And maybe you guys have the same problem at home with your family members, with your closest friends, because everyone on this show, we're all friends here. And there's an issue that I'm finding. I personally am not a far left person. I'm not a liberal. I consider myself to be straight down the middle. A lot of times I do lean right. A lot of times I do lean left, but I do my best to be fair. And I want to open up, because there's no more moderator, by the way, either. I want to open up to everyone. Everyone, let's have a talk. Let's talk about what big change we had this last week. The big change that we had was the departure of one of our own, I felt, a strong conservative, not our strongest, but very strong, who spoke absolutely well, the departure of our good friend, John. Was anyone? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He didn't die. You said the departure. It could.
Really? Did everyone get that feeling to death?
Kevin.
Well,
Really?
you got an audience out there. You want to make sure, right?
Okay. Our dear friend John quit the show or stepped down. You know.
Well,
so,
now you're making it sound. Our dearly departed John.
There was this whole scandal that happened on a radio show. They kind of hinted that the mayor of Boston died, and it turned into this whole thing. His family went to his house and tried to, it was. I think it was Menino.
Okay. Well, that's crazy. Let's not do it here. But yeah, our close conservative friend John quit. And let me tell you, it bummed me out. I enjoyed talking to this guy. I think everyone here enjoyed talking to him, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Very much.
And I got to be honest, not only did it disappoint me, but it let me down. Because when I talk to my other friends, those that have family members or other close friends that are the polar opposite of their political ideology, I'm starting to hear a trend that I get from the right side that I don't hear from the left. And do you guys want to take a wild guess of what that trend I'm hearing? Like what some of the experiences you have when you talk to your far right friends?
That you don't hear on the left, that's specifically to the right?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, then probably you haven't had the pattern.
Okay.
Because none of you guys. Okay, the pattern that I hear is that they are so tunnel visioned on one theory, and if you challenge it, they stop talking, or they tell you that everything you listen to is fake, that you're not informed. No matter how informed you can be, they express to you you're not informed. And go ahead.
You're going fake news, tunnel vision. You're talking about fake news. You're eating up thing.
Okay, I'll be clear.
Conclusions based off wrong information.
They accuse the other person that they're either having a friendly debate with or that they're conversating with, that everything you're listening to is not real.
Or it's biased.
That's not
It's
just
biased.
the right that does that. I kind of do that. But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, you just threw some shit out. You got to clarify.
I mean, that's not just a right position that, the majority of people that are kind of talking in the mainstream narrative are, kind of dealing with faulty premises and faulty information. I mean, that was an accusation that was coming from the left for years with like Noam Chomsky in 1988, manufacturing consent and all that sort of a thing.
So a lot of your right friends are saying that about Noam Chomsky, or are you saying
No.
that?
No,
Okay.
no, no.
I'm talking about when I talk to my friends.
You're saying that the
Okay,
right.
so let's stay focused on that aspect, because the thing that's killing me is that, like, John left, and John left for very specific reasons. He, I don't want to make it too public why he left, but he felt that obviously all of us were attacking him in one form or another, and that it was better for him and his religious stance that he better just walk away than to represent something that he felt his Lord and Savior would not like. And I respect that about him. But a lot of the complaints I heard from people on the show and people outside the show is that this guy would bring up facts that just were out in left field. And whenever we try to challenge him on it, he told us we were not looking in the right places.
Yeah, he loved going. Go get your own. Go to the source material. I go encourage everyone to go read the 5,000 page, whatever.
And a lot of our audience would go and write us and tell us the same thing. Look, I hear the same thing. If I tell them, well, CNN said this, oh, that's your mistake there, CNN. Well, I heard this from CBS. Oh, CBS is some type of communistic headquarters. They're all communist.
Mainstream media is the label. All of the mainstream media seems to be the same. That's the criticism, right? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of our conservatives, except Sun Tzu, and Renee.
Oh yeah, she takes that problem. She takes Jen Psaki for face value. When Jen Psaki says she's going to take over the world tyrannically, she's like, she said it. Yeah, she must be telling the truth.
I've never heard Jen Psaki say that, by the way. But also the complaints that we hear about Renee is that Renee doesn't represent them, that Renee's too all over the place. But I'll tell you what, that's what we get from our conservative, emailers. But I'll tell you what, this guy, people love this guy the same way they love Sun Tzu. So
I didn't know that Renee is so anti-war guy. I feel like we're going to bond a little.
I don't think he is at all, to tell you the truth. That was kind of surprising.
He was talking about Iraq. He was like, oh, they lied us into Iraq and blah, 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 and this and that. It's like, that seems to be a kind of only the kind of position that you would take from being anti-war.
So
from a conservative
back on the show, we'll ask, we'll literally ask him,
obviously,
because I don't want to, but the thing is, like, it's hard for us to keep our strong conservatives, and I don't know why. And the ones that do stay are the ones that other conservatives have a problem with. Does anyone have an idea why?
Why other conservatives have a problem with them, or
yes,
with our particular conservatives?
And with, yes, and yes to both. That's great. Yeah, you hit it both.
Well, I don't. I'm not quite as adamant about feeling that John had one position, and I mean, in some things, John believed that the election was stolen, and there's, he was very clear about that. And he did, we did some articles on that, and we did some stuff, and he followed me along for a while on some stuff and pointed some stuff out, and then we left it at that. But currently, I guess I'm just disappointed, just so the listeners know, the conversation apparently that upset John was off air. It was just a text stream that we have going, and the conversation just started talking about morality and objective morality and things like that. And I think Kevin was involved. Karen, you were in on it too, weren't you?
I was a little bit, yes.
Yeah, a little bit, sure. And then I was involved in it. And then all of a sudden, it just seemed like John shut down completely on that one and said, you know what, you're impugning my religious beliefs. And I don't understand that at all. I'm very, very confused by that. That's why I really would like to be able to ask him about that, because I'm lost on that one.
I think there was a distinction kind of made where he understood it sort of being said that, oh, the Bible does justify slavery, where it's like no one was saying that. We were just saying that 19th century Americans use the Bible to justify slavery. And that's just a fact. I mean,
Right.
they wrote in the papers or all the, the documents and all this sort of a thing.
Right.
So, they did do that. I mean, whether it's actually justified in the Bible or they're distorting it, that's like another discussion. But,
Yeah, I thought that was.
I think that was the distinction. I think he felt.
Yeah, I thought that was clear as well. And then I
Right.
even talked about, my beef is with religion, not with the dominion of God, if you want to go even further with that. But another thing I mentioned to Chris about this whole thing when it comes to religion. So here's a man of very strong faith. People who have very strong faith, why would they feel worried about any kind of attack? There's no attack that's going to penetrate your belief and your core belief system. So I don't, that's really came out of left field to me that, oh, you're saying things and trying to make it seem as if it's this and I feel attacked or I just can't stand that.
Is it possible that he didn't want to be angry? Like, is it possible that he didn't want to show anger and that for him, the wisest thing to do it is to walk away than to be angry?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know
He did,
either. I'm actually asking that question.
He did kind of say, he's like, well, he's like, I feel uncomfortable with like religious talk. And I kind of said stops with like, I can get angry or walk away. Those are my two options. So I don't want to get angry. So that could be a thing. Everybody would be fine with him getting angry. I feel like it's, that's. But
I think it's I think it's his comfort level of where he wants to be in his life, And the thing is that, is this show a issue like similar to our listeners when they speak to their family members or close friends? I think all of us question ourselves: are we the issue? Because we do have a tendency of losing not our conservative listeners. Our conservative listenership is super high, but the people who participate that are far conservative, they just don't do well here. Are we the issue?
Well, I know sometimes the conservative they're the only one on, and they might feel like that they individually get ganged up on one at a time. Sometimes that might be a way that. But I wanted to talk about
themselves the silent minority, right? Or majority, the silent majority. I think that's
silent majority is the phrase from the Nixon campaign. But I mean, I do from the taking it to a bigger, talking about the moral high ground. Like that was like one of the big criticisms of whatever the Biden administration and kind of Democrats in general trying to through morals and telling you to do the right thing and put on your mask and all this infringing on your freedom from that standpoint, and saying that trying to do it from the moral standpoint is the problem. And then it's like, then we start, I'm just glad that it's back to, right-wing people are like, we're the moral people and you guys are now coming at my morals. And I'm upset about that. I'm just glad that we're back to normal.
So I have mixed emotions about when we were talking about the objective morality. I said what I said in the text. I don't know if it was
very good. I said what I said.
No, I mean, I said what I said. That's how I'm saying this because I can't.
Most mad at you. Let's go ahead, Karen. I'm sorry.
I mean, we can't really fault anyone on the show for leaving because if you don't stand for something, you don't stand for anything, right? So he feels strongly about his religion, his beliefs. And I think sometimes that's where we can't, and this applies to everybody nationwide, right? I think in our politics, in our day-to-day lives, I think that's the reason why sometimes we can't come to an agreement, or we can't meet in the middle, because we are so stubborn with our beliefs, and we were brought up thinking one way, and with that tunnel vision that you're talking about, right? That sometimes we fail to explore other ideas and other beliefs. And I think that's what we're seeing in our group, because I've mentioned before in a one-on-one conversation with Chris, I think we're doing the same exact thing that our politicians are doing, the way that this person, be it they consider themselves conservative or liberal or straight in the middle or whatever. All we're doing is blaming, it's you're watching fake news, you're perpetuating fake news, blah blah blah. We're doing the same thing, and we're not really I think we're not serving the goal or the purpose of the show if we continue to argue amongst ourselves. Like, we're supposed to be engaging each other and stimulating our critical thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, our critical thinking, and then also through that, engage and stimulate the public who listen to us to start thinking for themselves, and not necessarily follow what is what's trending on the news, or what's considered acceptable these days. You know what I'm saying?
Can I add on to that, Karen? Where
Mhm.
we're also trying to encourage our listening audience to be brave enough to have these open conversations with their family members and close friends.
Mhm.
And when did it become bad to compromise? Why is that a bad thing now?
Shouldn't be.
Some of
Yeah.
But it is, right? I mean, how many times have you heard from far left and far right, if you give up any ground, forget it. We're losing.
Or you're weak.
Or you're weak, yeah. Or you're not winning. Like, we have to win.
But the extremes are the insecure positions. They
Mhm.
think they're the strong
I
positions,
no
but they're
longer-
actually.
Go ahead. I'm
But
sorry.
they think they're the actual strength, the strongest position, because they come off the loudest, but they actually are the weakest position.
Mike, let me ask you, how much do you know more moderate people or more extreme people? Because right now I feel like I could count more extreme people in my life than I can moderate people.
Well, I'm in an older crowd, so I deal with more moderate people than extreme people.
Oh, I'll challenge that anytime.
We need to
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Let me tell you why. Are you telling me, when you run through your friends in your mind, they all seem more in the middle?
Mm,
I mean, honestly.
yeah, I would. No, I'm serious. I mean, I don't have a ton of close friends.
Oh, don't
but
be modest.
no, I'm serious. I don't. Well, I'm pretty private, so I don't. I mean, but I mean, most of my friends are teacher friends, and most of them run toward the moderate position. I mean, they're more conservative than I am for the most part, but they're not. The most radical conservative in my lifetime is my daughter.
Okay.
She is a major Trumper. That she's by far radical in that regard. Other than that, I don't know a whole lot others.
Okay. Karen, how about you?
I would say a mix of both. I mean, I don't really particularly like talking about politics with anybody outside of my close circle. Like
Mhm.
Mike, I don't keep many friends. I only have a handful, or maybe one, that I trust. And then within my family, I think because of the way that we were brought up and we were raised, focusing on do what's right, not necessarily and not hurting anybody in your quest for, I don't know, success, I guess, or whatever. Like, always think of others, that kind of teaching. my family and my brothers and I are basically on the same page. I don't know.
Okay.
How about you, Kev?
I mean, so what gave moderates a bad name? Is kind of this thing that we were talking about.
Before you answer that, can you talk about in your life in general? Do you have more moderate friends or more extreme friends?
I don't really have any friends. I mean, most of the guys I work with are like Trump guys, and they're kind of extreme, I would guess, relatively. Most of my other life friends are just very moderate Democrats, and I'm the crazy one.
Okay. Now go ahead and finish saying what you were saying, man.
So where moderates kind of got a bad name is from the idea that we were talking about with like the one party, issue where like a third party might be needed because the two parties are kind of, like George Carlin said, like anytime the Republicans and Democrats agree, you're about to get an extra good screwing. So, that's where maybe some of these more extreme views get some credibility, because history has shown that sometimes when the parties agree, it's actually not a good thing. It's more of a negative thing. But also it's like extreme is relative, because you have a lot of times people say universal healthcare is an extreme socialistic position in like Overton window of American politics, where it's like, sometimes you go, well, in order to do anything, you have to risk, upsetting the moderates and risk looking extreme.
And that's a good example. Healthcare is a good example.
Yeah.
As far as what you're trying to say.
How about you, Anderson? Do you have more moderate friends or more friends that are becoming more and more extreme, either left or right?
You know what? I think I'm getting the same. So my same friends that are, moderate, stayed moderate. No one's changed. And my friends that are conservative actually are turning kind of like nutcase conservative.
I like that.
Like this, I mean, that's what I call it. Like, there's no reasoning with them at all. You say, so let me give an example. Trump. I tell people, if Ronald Reagan was a true Republican, if Ronald Reagan was alive running against Trump, Trump would shit on him so bad.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
And that's so nuts to me. And it's just like it's just like the McCain issue. When McCain, when he said he doesn't like guys who get captured.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a Democrat who said that, oh my God, here comes patriot power, right? But there's no patriot power when it comes to that guy.
If anything was going to sink him, I thought that was going to have way more of an effect. A lot of times Democrats try to criticize him from like his morality. Oh, he's so vague, vulgar, and this and that. I'm like, he's bulletproof on that sort of stuff. When he went after McCain, I thought he was going to have more problems than he did.
I thought he was done when he said grab him by the pussy, but I guess I was wrong.
Right. That was the morality thing. They were like, instead of talking about what he said, we're talking about this group trying to put their morality on you. And that's what we were talking about earlier in the show. And then all of a sudden it gets back to like, oh, I'm glad it's this way now, where I'm getting told my morals are in the bad place. Like,
so
now,
let me ask you, Anderson, why you think we can't keep our far right? I didn't want to say far right. Yeah, why do you believe we can't keep our conservatives coming on consistently on the show?
That's a great question. And you know what? It's kind of easy actually, because they're full of shit. And then when we call them out on their bullshit, I mean, they frazzle. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I've been called on my bullshit, and guess what? It was bullshit. You called me out. You were right. I was wrong. I don't cry about it.
That's how you grow.
And that's how you get a deal done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I do. God.
Well said. Yeah, well said.
It was almost poetic,
Thank you. Okay, can we put the music back on again so we can do the show again? Start it all over again. Welcome to This Could Be Wrong. Who cares? I'm Anderson. Sorry, I'm late, guys.
That's
So,
cool.
I
Entrance.
yeah, I really came in like a big asshole talking about the loss of John to where it sounded like the poor guy died. He didn't die. He quit, you know? And then I started talking about our conservatives, the problem with our conservatives. And I try to open up with some stuff, but for those who have been listening, they've been listening. Now, the thing is that I am done trying to cater to please all sides. The people that are here in the show are here in the show, you know, because what I really wanted us to sort of have an open conversation with everyone. But if you don't come on the show, you don't come on the show. I don't want to hear you call us some super left wing show when we're really not. And please listen to Sean's Frost's Just the Facts, where he'll actually break down all of We Could Be Wrong's catalog and prove that not everyone's far left. You listen to that every Monday night. And the show's a terrific show. It check facts us so we as a group could just have a conversation and not worry about being so right, because the show is called We Could Be Wrong. Great segue for that plug. Thanks, Anderson.
I will bash Biden plenty. We won't have
And
any.
you have too.
Absolutely, you have.
Yeah.
To the point where we just think you're like an anarchist.
I'm a secret conservative. I'm a libertarian in sheep's clothing.
You're a secret conservative. You're a libertarian.
What? That's like, I don't know what that's like.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Mike, does that make sense to you?
It's like
Nope,
a
not a
vegetarian
bit.
that eats meat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought we were going to talk about gas. I mean, I'm like all for nationalizing the gas industry and
He
Okay,
has
okay,
his
we're here.
notes.
creating a public option in the energy.
Terrific segue.
Right?
So, like, okay, guys, seriously, the funniest joke was put out earlier this week on the We Could Be Wrong chat room. The joke was, I don't like to brag about, you know, when I buy fancy things, but
Expensive things.
well, can you just might as well tell it? Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Okay,
You've already butchered it.
Just gotta get the right word.
Yeah.
You got to get the right word. No, okay, I'll tell it. Yeah, I just put on there real simple, like, hey, man, I'd heard this. It was really funny. Like, hey, man, you know, I don't like to brag about, you know, buying expensive things, but I just filled up my car.
Wait a minute. You say you heard this? I thought it was your.
No.
Organic
That
joke.
was terrible, Mike.
Yeah.
That was good.
Anyone
No,
on
I
the
like
show
that
who
delivery.
can
Mike.
have
Don't
good
listen to
comedy bits?
Anderson.
I'm not gonna take credit if it's not mine. Sorry. I heard it. Real
Please,
quick.
please don't, because you said it wrong.
It didn't actually happen to me. Where the story works best in the first person. Hun, don't forget the coffee. You know.
Yeah,
No.
sticker shock,
What?
man. 100
Knows what I'm
bucks.
talking about.
What?
How does you know?
So how much does everybody pay for a full take of gas here?
Yeah, okay, I'll start. I'm right now driving a Jeep Renegade, and to fill up that bad boy, it's $67.
Ooh, how much was it before the prices went up?
45.
Oh, okay. I'll go next, I guess. I got a Honda Civic, Honda Insight 2019 hybrid.
Nice.
And before it used to take me just about $25 to fill up.
Mhm.
Now it's 40. So big change.
Yeah, it almost doubled.
Yeah, I see it doubled. Yeah.
I have a
Well-
Toyota 4Runner, and the last fill up was $92.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
I actually took a picture of that's how much I spent on gas or whatever. I think it was $5.89 a gallon. I got 18.3 gallons in my Toyota Tacoma, and it was $108.
Yeah.
What about Karen? Because Karen has a Suburban.
No, I got rid of my Suburban. So
Oh, you did, huh? Good
call.
I
job.
did. I bought a new car. I have a 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross, and it's about $65 to fill it up. I haven't really um, filled up the tank because when I bought it, they filled it up for me. So
Yeah, cool.
Why? So when it gets to have take, do you fill it up?
The hell?
my husband does. My husband just he takes it in to fill it up with gas for me.
Did he ever tell you how much it costed to fill it up from half tank?
So okay, I always leave like a quarter tank or half a tank because I don't like it to go. I get nervous when it goes below half a tank.
Mhm.
And when we filled it up 3/4 of a tank, we spent about $49, and this was 2 weeks ago. Today he just went to go fill it up, and he spent about $50. I had some gas already in the car, like a little over a quarter tank. So
I love your efficiency, Karen.
sorry.
Right.
That
Pricey.
$110 was my second time this week.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a problem if you got to drive a lot. Yeah.
Well, see, I work from home, so I have the luxury of being allowed to work from home. Maybe once or twice a week I go into the office, but for the most part, since I got the car, I've been working from home with the exception of dropping off my kids to school. So, and it's like an eco-friendly or eco-friendly car or whatever. It's not hybrid, but it like, those new cars where it stops the engine when you're at a stop sign or stop and go traffic.
Yeah, a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
cars are like that.
But
Mhm.
So
that
here-
brings
here's-
me to-
Oh,
Well, yeah,
sorry,
that-
Kevin.
Go ahead.
Before you go, here I got some stats. Germany is paying $8.26 per gallon. Denmark is paying $9.09. The most is $10 a gallon, which is in
You're-
Hong Kong and Norway.
Europe
Wow.
has always paid double or triple what we pay for gas. That's
So,
that
like,
forever.
should we feel less bad about that? Because
Well, I feel less bad. I feel less bad looking at Venezuela, which is 10 cents a gallon.
Yeah. or Saudi Arabia, places like
Or-
that. where it's
Wait,
real
I'll
you
take-
cheap.
said, and it's only 10 cents a gallon, but isn't there money like you need like $8 million for 1 gallon or something because their money is worthless? Isn't that a thing? No.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, because
okay.
Libya is 12 cents, Iran 19, Syria
Mhm.
$1.20,
oh,
Algeria $1.22. Russia's at $1.45, 41 supposedly. I don't know if that's true or not.
well,
That's
now-
US dollars?
Yes.
I wanted to go to Karen's point where it was like, because you're working from home, it's like there was a big push recently to like go fill the downtowns again and everybody go back to work. And I think maybe June 1st is this like, let's stop working from home initiative from I'm not really sure where that's potentially coming from, but it's like, yeah, why are we pushing everyone to go back to work in the middle of an oil embargo?
well, that's a great question for us to talk about next week. About working
Okay.
from home for sure. You know what I mean? For sure.
Well, no, from a gas standpoint, oil embargo.
Is there oil? There is, right? We've now, but we really didn't use that much of Russian oil to begin with, right?
About 6%.
The,
Right at
the gas
6%.
did go up very, very recently, right?
Yeah, no, it did, but that's the
Yeah,
point of
all I'm talking
the greed. I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm literally trying to think this. I think that's just the gas company's greed for sure. And I think Mike said it for the last 2 weeks straight. Greed, 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 greed. He kept
But
on.
what can we do? What can we do to stop that though?
Well, I mean, according to Renee was all sure that Biden really fucked us over by stopping that Keystone pipeline. But
No.
this Monday night, you're going to hear from Sean in his new show called Just the Facts, the after show for We Could Be Wrong, where he actually deals with that topic.
The Keystone Pipeline isn't really greed. That's a supply argument.
No. I'm saying two different things. He's
Yeah,
asking,
you are.
and
That's
Anderson
an
said-
environmental issue. That was environmentally was
Yeah.
why that was
But,
canceled.
but Anderson asked, what can we do about it? I said, according to Renee, we should open that up. But
Right.
go back to your, to the other thing of the greed is, why did the prices shoot high so much? It can't be over that 6% from Russia.
Yeah, I mean, there was in the State of the Union, they were like,
Okay,
oh,
yeah,
we
the first
want-
like the first say you make fish, right? Oh, we got whatchamacallit too.
Whoa.
The-
Hey, Anderson, we all stopped to hear you about
Sorry,
fish.
sorry, Chris.
What was it?
State of the Union, you said.
Yeah, the State of the Union. He was talking about releasing 30 million barrels from the reserves and 60 million barrels from the world reserves and this sort of thing. Isn't that like why De Beers was kind of like illegal in America, because they were like, artificially limiting the supply so that you hit these peak price points way earlier when you're actually not at as low of a supply as the price is dictating from that standpoint. And if that is true, I mean, that would be definitely the from the greed standpoint. I mean, I will concede it's like you do kind of want a little bit of backup oil. You don't want. It does make sense from a rational standpoint to have some reserves, but it didn't seem like it affected anything very very well.
It was a very small amount, relatively speaking, a very small amount.
But if we aren't using a lot of Russian oil, then what is causing this very acute spike?
Probably because they want us to move towards transitioning into renewable energy and electric cars and not being too dependent on fossil fuels and gas and oil. And
I mean,
I don't know.
That's an act. I mean, I think there is maybe something to that. When you look at California, the steady price of gas is just higher than the national average, and that is kind of like what a lot of the conspiracy guys are, accusing. They're going like, oh, our economy is kind of based on oil, and these people are trying to destroy the economy by killing the working people's tax paychecks with eating up with high gas prices, and also by making corporations that use a lot of energy, making them pay extra money for that to try to push renewable energies. There's like a lot of corruption in that. I don't think that is actually accurate, but you do have to. A lot of people say, "Oh, the president doesn't. It doesn't matter when the president, what the president is in terms of he doesn't control the gas prices." But I mean, when you do look at it in terms of even just state policies, you do kind of see a difference in energy. That is one stark difference. If there isn't a lot of stark differences, there is a stark difference in the parties between renewable energy and gas and fracking and oil.
Do you know where he's coming from, Mike? Do you know what he's trying to say?
Well, kind of. I think it doesn't make any sense that the oil companies are doing that, you guys, because they're the ones that would be killing themselves. Drive the price up, get people to drive electric cars, and then there'll be much less oil consumption. So that doesn't make any sense that the oil companies would be doing that. So, but at the same time, while the price is going up, the environmentalists are somewhat happy in the sense that it's like, okay, this is going to push our agenda better for people to say, we need to get away from gas guzzling machines and move into renewable energy sources. But let's keep in mind a couple things that I think are going on. We went through a glut of oil for a while. Saudi Arabia and Russia were in a pissing contest about 3 years ago, and they were pushing all kinds of supply on the world market. Whenever there's a lot of oil in the world market, the prices of gasoline goes down. They stopped doing that. Part of the reason they stopped doing that is COVID came along. And when COVID came along, everybody's use of oil dramatically decreased, obviously, because people weren't out and about driving as much as they were. So that then shot us from a high supply down to suddenly a very low supply. Oil companies in America especially have basically, when the price is low, they're not going to continue to drill. They're going to minimize their drilling because they do not want to keep a glut of oil in the market. So I think they've been waiting kind of patiently to slowly ratchet up. Now that the price of oil is up over or 90 to $100 a barrel, my guess is you're going to see fracking is going to take, because there were 10 fracking organizations throughout the United States. 9 of them shut down. Only 1 was still going. And they're just sitting there waiting until the price of oil goes up or it's not productive for them to frack. So I think that's part of the issue. And then I'm going to go back to greed. The fact that it came on so quickly, oh my gosh, we went to war, there's a war and Russian oil, and the price went up 50 cents in like 4 days. I mean, that oil that they're talking about is 3 months away from anything necessary that we'd be doing with it. There's enough, you know what I mean? That's the part that makes me the angriest.
Right.
It's not an instant, it's not a definition of a split second when OPEC says, oh, we're going to raise our price, and boom, it goes up 10 cents on on our gas tanks. So that's the greed part.
Quick side note too, according to our conservative friends on the show, that going back to the electric and going green, that going green is bad for the environment. I remember, if you guys remember last time we talked about it, and all of a sudden, they're environmentalists now. So
yeah, that argument, what they're saying is kind of accurate. It's like, in order to make renewable energies actually viable at some point, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to like use the old stuff to make the other stuff. But it's like it's not really a rational argument. It's like, basically they're saying, like, in order to get there, you're gonna have to use what we're already using right now. So there's no point. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But I wish we could start thinking along the lines of transitioning, because obviously the oil company is going to have to transition into a stage where we're not going to be using as much oil in 20 years from now. So rather than not transitioning and then 20 years from now going, oh my God, there's 60,000 jobs, where are they gone? We need to start thinking about that now, is what I would like to see, because it's going to happen. We have to, decrease our dependence on oil, because it really, kind of is affecting the environment.
Mike, I mean, how fast did it take to transition from horse and buggy to car?
Fast.
Oh, what an asshole.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin, since you know everything from the 1800s.
Looking at my chalkboard real quick. Yeah, I mean,
let me explain something real quick, just because this is very interesting. I saw a picture, and it was a picture of Wall Street, and it was like a busy Wall Street, one of the streets in New York. Okay, all horse and buggies, one motorized vehicle, and then like 20 years later, same place, all motorized vehicles, one horse and buggy. It happened really, really fast. It just came on, and that's there's a name for that. When the technology takes a sudden turn, and things from that point on just completely change. And that's the same thing like with the computer. Once the computer became part of our mainstream, our life became, from that point on, boom, there's a name for that, and it escapes me what that name is. It's a something point. So that was just interesting that you brought that up about the horse and buggy.
Okay, let's go from gaslight lamps and streets to electricity. From when but I'm sure within 10 years too, right?
I don't know when electricity became really, really big. I don't know that
1915.
Yeah, I'm not sure when electricity became a really big deal. Cheap, consumable. It has to be consumable. It has to be cheap.
Yeah, it was the battle between Edison, Tesla, and Westinghouse. That was the original was the AC/DC, but then it was like putting lights and replacing Standard Oil's candles with lights was the actual consumable version of the AC/DC, how it actually translated into.
But the idea is that it happened.
It happened. It was very, very, very fast. Yeah, I mean, in all the major big city centers, it was very fast. It was like a few years.
Okay. Now, are we still in agreement that these big fans, what are they called? The tubular fans?
Turbo.
Oh, the windmills?
The windmills I mean, are we all in agreement that those kill a lot of birds and we shouldn't build a lot of them?
No, that's silly.
Yeah, that is.
My opinion, that's silly.
I thought that was silly too.
Yeah. I don't think that kills a lot of birds.
I mean, our
It's
president.
like a bird. It's like a bird getting hit by a car. I don't feel real sympathetic. I'm sorry. You can fly. What the hell are you doing down on the road? You know?
Yeah, you could also build like a mesh around it where it's like they might get caught in the mesh, but they wouldn't get hit with the turbine.
Yeah.
All birds' lives matter, guys. Come on.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole.
Those are the dumb birds. See, if the dumb birds die
Sorry.
before they procreate, then only smart birds procreate, and then it gets smarter birds and smarter
Well,
birds.
Now,
By
you're
the
crossing the
way-
line, Mike. You're
Well,
I
crossing
know.
the
I
line,
feel
buddy.
Hold on.
like I just
Hold
heard,
on, hold
I just
on.
heard,
You know,
I just
because-
heard the bird version of mine.
But hold on, because we're all joking about dumb birds, but this is the same argument that could be turned against us about that Keystone pipeline and the deers that get by the pipeline and get sick and stuff. You know, only the dumb deers get by that pipeline. So we should, you know.
That's not my environmental issue with a pipeline is it all of a sudden it breaks and 87,000 gallons or barrels of oil go into the environment and it
I
can't be
think-
cleaned up.
That
That's
happens
what
in our
worries me
oceans
about
all the time,
pipeline.
it seems like.
No,
Yeah.
I think pipelines are way more efficient and actually less likely to spill.
Didn't they have
Right.
didn't Wisconsin or somebody have a pipeline oil spill about a year or so ago? I thought they did.
Sean,
Somebody-
on your show,
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring that out for us for next Monday, please.
Yeah,
Or
I
this
know there was
Monday,
like,
actually. Tomorrow.
yeah, there was like a lot with like the Gulf and stuff. It was like the point of, getting it out, but like the actual pipelines, just the piping, it's really hard to burst those pipes. It ends up eliminating a lot of like the spillage that happens like on trains. That was like a lot of the ones trains getting derailed. I mean, I guess maybe with earthquakes and stuff, you could have, these pipelines bursting.
Yeah, there
Right.
pipelines in California.
Yeah.
Because the big one's gonna happen, guys. I predict it. All right, guys. So I do want to go back to talking about our current president, President Biden. Is there any blame for this gas hike on him? I mean, seriously, honestly, is there any blame on this gas hike on our current president? Because I know we're going to probably have conservatives yelling at the radio or YouTube about that.
Is the gas prices up? Yes. Is it his fault? I don't think it's his fault. Can he do something about it? I think he could do something about it. I don't know what, but I think he could, pull some strings or do something, right?
I thought he did. Didn't they release like, I don't know, 30 something million barrels?
Well,
of oil?
Karen, you don't fill up your gas tank, so you wouldn't know because it's still affecting us.
I think the thing that they're accusing him of doing is stopping the Keystone pipeline. And then the argument is that gas kind of slowly crept up ever since then. And, we're talking
That's
about
what's
is
going up while Trump was still in office before the
Yeah. It had nothing to do with
Yeah.
that. Absolutely
Well,
nothing to do with that.
I think the thing when Trump was in office, it had something to do with like China slowing down. And so they had to like cut production, or I think that was the reasoning for the gas going up. Whatever. I'm just saying, but if you look out throughout even history, even with like Carter, and we have to be accurate about the situation. I mean, there is definitely, and I think renewable energy is a better alternative that eventually things need to go that way. I mean, you look at like LA and the smog, you go, if it turns into this ideological thing, and I go, well, why can't you just be clean and more efficient and strive to go that direction? Because that is the way that everybody should kind of be striving, rather than a lot of times the conservatives get all bent out of shape. It's like, oh, they said the world was going to end in 1995. If you go and look back in the 1970s, and the world, yeah.
What does that have to do with, like, is it Biden's fault or not? I don't remember where the.
I was saying, instead of looking at it whether it's Biden's, actually, no, I think the environment is 100% Biden's fault.
That's awesome.
Say that last part again.
Environment.
The environment in broadly is just completely and utterly Biden's fault. I feel like he is responsible.
For the environment.
Because
Yeah.
why?
What?
I don't know. I was saying the thing I was saying. I don't know what you're talking about.
Kevin.
here.
Chris, would it be okay if Kevin can excuse himself from the show? Because apparently he's not thinking straight.
Yeah. I am definitely
No,
confused.
I
here.
would-
I was
Where
so
this-
confused, Kevin.
Where this began was I know that we're gonna have conservatives yelling at Biden saying it's his fault. And I just wanted to see the agreement. Like Anderson goes, look, man, I don't think it's his fault, but could he do something? Yeah, I think so.
Okay, listen real quick. All right. If he did stop the XL pipeline, and if when Carter was in office, there was a giant oil problem, if there is a pattern of history, if California has way higher gas prices than other conservative states, I'm making the point that Biden, that would make it Biden's fault
Kevin,
if that
Kevin,
was accurate.
I'm literally right here. You don't have to yell at me.
I feel like Kevin's about to
Okay.
take off his shirt and flex on us.
Kevin,
I get what
the
you're
gas-
saying, Kevin.
No, tell us,
Thank
Karen.
you, Karen. Thank you.
Tell us, Karen.
Okay.
Tell us what Kevin's saying. Hold on, Mike. Karen,
I
yeah.
think the way I'm interpreting what he's saying is Biden has an indirect he's at fault indirectly for the gas prices, because if it was cost the higher cost of gas prices and no wait, don't laugh. I'm trying to compose myself here. I'm trying to interpret what he was trying to tell us, because it made sense when he was saying it. Okay.
Mhm. There's a 5-second make sense timeline on that line on what he said. No, I think where Republicans are criticizing Biden is because he's not drill.
Yeah.
Okay. And because of the conception of like getting rid of the Keystone pipeline
Mhm.
and converting over, he's put us in a position where we have a shortage of oil. But that just isn't really the case, because I expected that argument from John, and I looked up stuff, and Biden approved like almost a record number of oil and gas leases on federal land.
So Renee talked about that with me. Renee said that, because Biden released all these vouchers for them to start drilling and start getting things going.
Yeah.
But Renee's argument was these companies are businesses. And he goes, Chris, listen, he wants them to go and drill for oil somewhere they don't think, they don't know if there's oil. Why are they going to waste their resources? I'm just telling you what Renee said.
No.
Okay.
Look, Biden's in a bind.
Uh-huh.
Biden's in a bind. He needs oil for this economy, because if the inflation stays like it is,
Yeah, the inflation point.
the Democrats are screwed. I mean, people vote their pocketbook. The Democrats are going to be screwed because they're not going to be able to cast away blame for high inflation.
Yes.
And so Biden, I mean, even though he's supposedly an environmentalist, he's got to put that on the back burner for now and go, hey, man,
Renee
bring on the
explained.
oil.
He explained that Biden messed up in the beginning. He should have always let him do that, because now they're going to waste their money on drilling somewhere that they don't know where there's
No.
oil.
That's just Chris. You're acting like. Oh, I know. Renee's acting like, okay, we were drilling 14 million barrels of oil a day. Biden comes in and went down to 6 billion barrels. No, that's ridiculous. It didn't do that. That's what everybody's acting like. Oh my God, as soon as Biden came in, everybody stopped drilling oil. No, they didn't. Actually, they're drilling more oil now than they did last year, and more gas. It's just they're not accelerating it like Biden would like them to, or like anybody would like them to accelerate it. And Kevin, as far as the California gas prices, we have the highest tax per gallon of any state in the country. New York is second. So that's part of the reason why. I mean, we have like 46 cents a gallon.
What does New York and California have in common? They have very densely populated Democratic state legislatures. So what I'm saying is maybe their policy because they have the high. So when a Democrat comes into office, when you see that pattern of history, maybe that there is something there. I'm not saying there is or not. This isn't something that I really look into. I'm not like, let's get down to the bottom of, why when the Democrats go in. I don't even know if it is correlated, but I think there's enough smoke to go, if you're going to try to answer the question, is Joe Biden responsible for it? You kind of have to look at that. That's all I'm saying.
And Democrats historically have been considered the tax party, and conservatives have been considered the tax break party. I mean, just that's a generalization, isn't it?
Well, there's also the Green New Deal and Al Gore, and I think there's accusations that maybe they're economically involved in it in some sort of way, and maybe it's not just environmental. I personally feel like the environmental aspect of it should be enough, but it is kind of a partisan thing. And then if you go, it can't just be a coincidence that it seems to be correlative in terms of, California and New York are the two highest gas prices in the country. They are
like
also,
you said.
right.
Yeah.
Can that change?
What?
Can anyone do anything about that? Lowering those
Well,
taxes?
Yeah, you guys haven't read that article that came out the other day
Governor
about
Newsom said he was
mhm.
going to subtract 50
suspend.
cents.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were working on like an emergency suspension of the
Absolutely,
gas
he said that.
taxes.
You said that on Tuesday, but I didn't want Kevin to get all excited and yell at me about Carter.
I wouldn't hold my
I didn't
breath.
say
I
anything.
mean, I don't. I'm not shitting on the Democrats. I'm legit. I'm trying to objectively look at an answer and go, I don't know. Does Biden have it? I mean, conventional
A
wisdom.
little bit, Kevin, just a little bit. You are just a little bit.
Conventional wisdom is presidents don't have any effect over gas prices.
Well, that's what I was asking you in the first place.
right.
Why you didn't answer that? Why you have to tell me about Carter for? I asked you that. You just answered it right now.
I don't like it when you guys fight.
I said conventional.
I know. Can you guys make up?
My bark is way worse than my bite.
Oh,
whoa. So what Chris said, or Karen, that they're working on lowering the taxes. When is that going to happen? When they're going to vote on that, or how does that work?
Here, let me call Newsom right now. Hold on.
Yeah, no, that was in his State of the State address.
Yes,
Now
that
we
he
got
was
no
going to
smart ass.
Yeah, he was going to consider
dropping
the tax.
They might fund a study and see if it will really help economically before they do it. And, by that time, it might be at the end of the election cycle. It won't matter.
No. Come on, you guys. You're not being fair.
I'm being cynical.
It's him.
Yeah. I think he's going to do it. I actually do think he's going to do it. And a couple of reasons I think he's going to do it. Number one, high gas prices affect the poor more than anybody else.
Yes.
And we have a surplus.
Yeah, and we have yes, Karen, you're right on. And we've had a very large surplus for the last couple of years in our finances.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they're trying to calibrate, okay, by reducing the gas tax by 40 cents, how much is this going to impact our budget? So I'm sure
gas
that's
has went up 60 cents in the last 3 weeks. Like, let's drop it 40 cents, and now you're just up a solid 20 cents. I like it.
Well, but the 60 cents is the fake part. I'm sorry. It's the fake part. It shouldn't go up 60 cents. It shouldn't have gone up 60 cents. That's the gas and the oil companies fucking us over. That's my opinion. There's no reason for it, Kevin. There's none. They're talking about a shortage in potentially 6 months, and they raise the price now $1 or whatever it's been. Why? It's just
justified or unjustified. Fucking still hit your wallet the same. When you're gas pump. Yeah. Well,
but unfortunately, we have a free market economy, and Biden can't. I mean, he went to the oil companies and said, "Hey, you guys, would you pump more?" And they politely said, "No, thank you." He went to Saudi Arabia apparently, and Saudi Arabia said, "No, thank you." He even is talking about going to Venezuela.
Yeah, he did.
Which doesn't seem like a very smart move to me, because we've declared Venezuela as pretty much an enemy state, almost like a North Korea. So that doesn't make much sense to me. I don't know why he would be reaching out there. That was a lot of criticism.
That was the last administration that kind of painted them that way a little. No,
I think more Democrats than Republicans.
Oh, okay.
Now, would anybody care if will Americans care if they go to Venezuela and get cheaper gases
Nope.
just because it goes cheaper?
Nope. Matter of fact, we might influence them to work with us more and probably allow us to help them out a little bit.
Oh,
Well, they have a pretty bad human rights record, so that's the reason why it's a pretty repressive regime there.
Yes,
So we're gonna have to do some serious considering, because he's opening himself up for major criticism if he chooses Venezuela as a partner to send us more oil.
That's cool. Yeah. No, not what you said. I'm reading the chat room and the YouTube. It says, "Well, Mike has a camera, and now we just need Anderson and Karen." Yes. I thought what you were saying was cool. I was like, yeah.
Never, you never see my face.
But I mean, in all fairness, I think that it's possible we could work with Venezuela. I know that former President Trump was actually talking about that in his last rally about how weak this current administration is for considering going to enemies, to real bad people like that.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I mean, that's the pot calling the kettle black when he was calling Putin a genius. But
I suspect if as a betting person, I would bet money that the United States oil companies are gonna start producing a lot more pretty quickly, just because the price is so high. If the price is up over $90 to $100 a barrel,
right.
Man, they're going to make a ton of money, and I don't think they're going to be able to resist,
Aren't
even though
patriots?
Technically, huh?
Aren't they real patriots? Those
Yeah,
companies?
yeah. Even though technically they may be helping out a Democratic Party, I think to help out Americans, they're going to start pumping here pretty quick. That's what I think.
Mike, the whole idea is that they're supposed to be so greedy that it never gets up this high, because by the time it gets to 90, they're sitting there ramping the thing up going, oh, let me get 90 before it gets to 100,
But it went real fast, Kevin. It jumped from like 60 to 100 in like, 3 weeks or something, some ridiculous, really short period of time. So
yeah, high volatility for sure.
Yeah. So, and then the market, and that's part of it too. The market does respond to worldwide events. So the fact that there will be a shortage of oil, from Russia, that's going to create a market effect. And that's okay. I can understand that. And I can understand the price of my portfolio going down slightly because of whatever. But I don't understand how it hit the pump so fast. That's the part that really makes me cranky.
Well, you do understand it, Mike. And you've been saying it. It's called greed.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know. I don't think it's a think type of thing. I think it's a no thing. For example, it's like, two people having a camera on and having light so they could be seen, and a third person not having his light on where it seems dark. It's like that. It's crazy.
I tried turning my light on. It's getting dark as the podcast is going on, okay? I tried turning the light on, and it's plugged into the one that the switch needs.
I was wondering what you were talking about. I wasn't looking. I never look at the darn pictures.
I knew exactly what he was talking about.
I mean, you can be seen, I can be seen, and then it gets darker. I know there was that time.
It's just getting gradually darker.
All I see is like white skin and a red sleeve. That's it.
I'm like the Che Guevara of the podcast world. I'm just the imprint, the silhouette.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. I mean, is there anything anyone else would like to add before we end the show?
I was making a great point that was connected. And
hold on, wait a minute. You were making a great point.
Props to Kevin.
It just went over your head. That's all that happened.
Okay. Hey, possibly. I'm pretty
we
sure
could. We all could be wrong, right?
Well, I mean, this is why we have Just the Facts Monday nights. Just the Facts, hosted by Sean Frost, where he talks about what the people talk about on We Could Be Wrong, and he brings out just the facts, because facts are white and black.
Wait, is it all live stream? Have you released any yet?
No, he said tonight or something.
Well, tonight would be the week that Renee and would be last week's. Tonight would be last week's. That show runs for 20 minutes. And then from now on, his show is approximately 20 to 30 minutes. He will have both a video format and an audio format. And I can set that up through Spotify for his video. His email is justthefacts@aol.com. I will pester him to get it on Gmail, not AOL. And it's super exciting. I had a chance to see last week's show today, and it was great. I mean, the man has videos. He has video. He has PowerPoint, and he speaks great. It's very exciting.
Who's Just the Facts? Was that Joe Friday and Dragnet?
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
Yeah. Was that Dragnet or was that the other one? Get Smart.
Yeah, that was Dragnet.
Oh, that was Greg. Yeah.
Joe Friday. I have a shout out, if I may, Chris.
Yeah, please.
I would like to shout out to the country and the people of Poland. Given that what's going on in Ukraine and how many people are having to flee their country with literally their possessions on their back, it's everything I am hearing about Poland and the Polish people is they have been absolutely extraordinary in taking in these people, trying to find food and blankets and care. And a lot of that care is coming from the rest of the world, but Poland is coordinating that and they're getting that out. And they had already started doing that even before Russia attacked. And it's just so good for me to see a country that we don't really think too much about, like a Poland, that is just absolutely stepping up to the plate and shining. And so 3 cheers to Poland and 3 cheers to the Polish people.
Those Eastern Europeans stick together. They were all one country at one point.
Well, it's still pretty impressive.
Yes, I agree. Woot woot.
Humanity sticks together. Regardless if they were all the Soviet Union or not, I don't think it was a good idea to reference in that aspect of it. But yeah. Okay, so 3 cheers to Poland. Cheers, cheers. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Shout out to Kevin and turning on his light. I'm glad he can be seen. Also shout out to to Quincy, who wrote that his Ford 401k went down 50K in 2 months. Was that Russia?
I sold all my stock in the beginning of February.
That's
same
world.
here.
That's just the world. The stuff that's going on in the world. I mean, just
Wait a minute. Kevin and Anderson just said 2 major things. Both of you guys sold all your stock in February?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't sell it. No, I kept mine.
Oh,
Well, my stock. I'm talking about like my 457 from
Mhm.
work. Of course, it
Yeah.
went down, but of course I can't take that out due to tax reasons. But yeah, it did go down. My Acorn account, of course, went down as well. So, which I put like $400 a month.
that's really
away.
great, Anderson.
So that's
really
like for my kids, just in case they don't get
Mhm.
scholarships and I got to pay for college.
Well, you better make sure those kids play soccer and get their sports on.
It'll come back.
Vacation.
The market comes back. It'll come back.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
gonna
Yeah,
take some time. Yeah, just take some time.
So I'm not in a rush. So
So
I'm
was
not
that
Shout
retired.
out to
Mike, or what was that about?
What was that, Chris?
Pardon me?
Our viewer who said his 50K went down 401K.
Oh, that
Quincy?
sounds about right.
Yeah, Quincy, was that
401k went down 50k.
his 401K went down 50K?
Right.
But
a lot.
okay, if it went down 50K, he's got probably 300, close to 300,000 in there, I would say, or pretty much up there, because if it went down 18%, 20%,
Mhm.
so multiply that out. So he's doing well for himself. But yeah, it sucks to look at the numbers and go, oh shit, where'd all that money go? Because the
Yeah.
last 2 years have been pretty strong. So
Cool.
Shout out to
Mark-
Quincy for always listening to us, though, your live show.
I know. Thank you, Quincy.
I think market's down 22% year to date. I believe 22% is the number I saw recently. So that's a big hit since,
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, and the end of 2021 wasn't great either. I mean, we're down. Yeah, you were down significantly January 1st from the 52-week high of 2021. That was in, I think, like October.
And it's Biden's fault too, by the way.
It
Yeah.
is.
Is it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
According
God,
to Kevin, everything environmental is Biden's fault, or Carter,
And
or
economy.
Clinton, and Obama's, whatever president has a D on it, it's their fault, according to Kevin.
That's what I said.
That's
You're right.
pattern.
I want to keep it. I
Pattern
want
show.
to keep it. I want to keep it fair and balanced. You know what I mean? Like Fox News.
There we go.
Thank you for listening to We Could Be Wrong, but Who Cares? That was awesome.
We are out.
Yeah, and continue to listen to us when you want to hear great investing advice. Good night, everyone.
Investing advice. That's funny.
Okay.
Cool. Good show, guys.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah. Now I can pick my nose. Oh my god, my nose is itching so bad.
Chris, yo, all right. First of all, I want to get like the group. I know.
What
I
the
like
heck?
God, I'm laughing too hard. What?
I want to get the group's vote right.
Oh, now you're breaking up. That's exactly my experience with you. You're breaking up, bro. We have no
Funny.
idea what you're
I
talking.
lost you.
Oh,
You're
my God.
frozen, dude.
There you
Yeah.
go. Stop. So we can... Okay, you were good a second ago.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
were
I walked out of the range of my Wi-Fi. Now I'm on
Oh, okay.
5G. What's it called? Was the thing that I was saying related to the topic that we were talking about, or am I incorrect?
Okay, so you could have given like a quick one sentence answer, but you were like breaking it down to Carter and the embargo, but that itself is so complicated
I should have. Yeah.
with the fall of Iran and everything also involved in that. So
Oh.
I'm like, dude, I'm trying not to go so far
I
out.
wasn't trying to go deep into it. All I was trying to say is, yes, I understand that conventional wisdom is that presidents don't have control over gas prices, but the only way that you could lay the blame on the party is, one, you'd have to like try to make the argument that like through the states, you know, New York and California are the highest. And it seems to be like when Democratic presidents are in office, there seems to be giant oil spikes. That's all.
Kevin,
I was like, I'm not an expert in this. I don't know if that is accurate. That's the only way you'd be able to blame it on Biden.
Okay, Kevin,
Sure.
what you said was perfect. So I have to lie to you and tell you we're not on air for you to give answers like that. Okay? That was perfect. That's not what you said, though.
Okay.
You did not
I do.
say that.
What did I
You
say?
did not
Wait, hold on. What's
Uh,
the difference of what I said and that thing that I just said?
A fucking world of difference.
yeah,
you
well,
ran around. You beat around the bush, dude.
More than beat around the bush. He fucking ran a block around the bush.
Well,
Dude, you were perfect. You're like, look,
literally,
literally you just said,
do it better.
look,
Sure.
this presidents do not
I
have
think
control
the
of this.
difference was
And you gave a second point that fit perfectly.
I said that
a-
after.
Okay.
On the show. I said that phrase on the
You
show.
said that
The
after you
president's
started
the
yelling
conventional
at me.
wisdom.
And
I
fucking
did. That
Anderson
is
laughed
true.
at you, and then you thought about what you were saying, and then you're like, "Wait a minute, I mean
Right.
this."
I think
that.
what happened is it came off as I was making that argument rather than I was saying it's a possible. Like the only way you could make that argument is this is the route you'd have to go.
Anderson, can you help me break it to this guy, please? Because obviously it's me. Anderson, please.
no, actually, what Kevin just said was perfectly made sense.
I agree. But can you explain?
Because he went straight to
Kevin-
the point. Yeah, he went to
Yes.
the point. But I like how Chris said he's talking about Carter, and then talked about it was connected to the Civil War, and
Horse and buggy. Yeah.
The
When we
horse
went
and
from
buggy
horse-
was great because
when we
that
went
gave
from
Mike
horse and
something to
buggy-
bounce off of.
When we
Yeah.
went from horse and buggies to cars, that had a giant impact on the price of oil. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that would have been great too if you said that. That works.
that absolutely did have a great impact.
I'm just figuring out. I gotta fucking lie to you and say we're not on air for you to get to the point. That's it. I'll figure that out. I'll be like, okay, guys, commercial break.
I-
And you'll say your awesome point, and then I'll be like, haha, we're on air.
I need to.
Fucking made
I
it.
think I need to be more. I need to be more clear when I'm trying to explain what the path to making that argument would be, rather than I'm saying like, no, this is an argument that I'm making, and I think it's true. Did you see that distinction or?
I'm gonna give you a secret.
Okay.
Don't laugh. You see,
I'm
that's
writing-
gonna get the
I'm
fence
gonna
up.
write this. I'm writing this down, Chris. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I am also.
Here's the secret. We're not in your brain. We are literally outside of your brain in your thinking way.
Right.
Dude,
I need to remind myself that.
yes, you do.
Well,
Because
first of all, I
We're
do regurgitate my brain on the text message all the time.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are all doing your homework. I'm just kidding.
No, I was
Mhm.
gonna say that, Chris. We're not in his brain, but at the same time, I think that's the reason why he
Yeah. I
loses
did-
us sometimes, because he gives too much info just to get from between point A and point B. Like sometimes he over explains, but I think it's just laying out the canvas per se.
Mhm.
Yeah,
know?
I'm scattered. I need to
yeah,
meditate.
okay. How about this?
Like-
Be less Van Gogh and more Rembrandt. Okay.
Right. Less self-destructive and more creative.
No, not self-destruct. I didn't say that. I didn't fucking say that.
That's what I thought you were saying there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Less
Yeah, that-
Picasso and more
Yeah.
Rembrandt. Less abstract and
Okay.
more
That makes more
realism.
sense.
Realistic. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
use Van Gogh in a way of schizophrenia or anything self-destructive.
Cutting off
Yeah.
your ear and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you're like Dali incarnate, dude. Okay. I don't need melting clocks. I just need the clock.
That is that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that is my wife's favorite artist.
I
I
don't-
see why she married you.
Right.
I see. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think he went too far adrift. Too long.
Thank you,
So-
Mike.
Yeah,
That's what
really,
was-
I don't-
my ass
I was
butted
looking
in.
for.
That's why. Because my ass came in. Exactly.
My sanity right now.
No, my ass came in. That's why it wasn't for too long. Look, I heard him.
That is fair. That is fair. I
was
would have went
coming
way
in with
further. I would
Carter
have went way
It
further.
come in with the embargo of Carter, which then came with the embargo of fucking
Embargo,
Russia.
yeah.
I saw this shit and I'm like, okay, let me get this shit now. Now,
Well-
another thing I want to say is Karen can any day be my mom because the way she fucking tried to save this guy when I asked her, Karen, tell us what Kevin's dead. She really did. And she's like, listen, Chris, I totally get what Kevin said. Listen, tell us.
Yes.
And then she's like, well, listen, what he was saying was, I started laughing, and then she goes, I'm trying to keep composure. And I'm like, oh, okay. The whole time I see Kevin's big ass hand go straight to his forehead and turns off the camera. And I'm like, oh my God.
The
You
lights
guys are
went
having
out.
so much fun.
Yeah, but then the
Yeah,
funnest
that's
shit
right.
was when the these got darker and darker
Wait.
Yeah.
and darker.
The
And I'm
light-
like, oh my fucking God. So I'm like,
My
okay.
lights didn't get
How am
turned
I
off in my
gonna
house.
how am I
The
gonna
sun went
approach
down.
this shit? Now that I'm thinking of the nicest way to fucking approach this. I'm thinking
I was relying on natural light. Okay, it's one of the advantages
your
of living
fucking
in
skin is
California.
light, it's not fluorescent, and it
It's-
doesn't
it's-
glow.
It's
Okay.
one of the advantages of living in California. There's plenty of big windows and natural light.
You
Okay.
live in
Yeah.
the mountains, okay, with
It does get-
clouds. There's
it does
no
get-
natural light.
It does get dark kind of early
Yes,
here.
it does. And I'm like, I'm over here.
Hey,
Huh?
today was late. Remember, today's the first day of light.
No, I
There we
know.
go. Yeah, it's only getting long. You know, the days are only
I
getting
love
longer.
it. I
So
love it.
I'm over here looking at Kevin. I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, how am I going to tell him? Like, am I going to say, am I going to text him, hey, Kev, turn on your light? No, because he's on his phone. So he's not going to see it. So I'm like, okay. And then there's this one moment where Mike makes this, you know, he says like this epiphany about something. And I go, yeah. Something like two guys on videos with
Yeah, I couldn't
Mike
understand.
and a guy who has his video on but doesn't have any light going on. And then Mike's like, what? And then Kevin starts cracking up because she's watching the video. And then lucky Kevin goes, yeah, I know where he was going.
Yeah,
I knew
that's what made me
something.
look up. Oh,
It's
it's funny.
quick on my feet. Like I'm trying to be as nice as possible. I don't know how. It's like Jesus. All right, guys. Terrific show.
I knew it was
Fun.
happening before it happened. I turned the light on. It was
I
like
saw
click,
you. I saw you do this. I actually saw that.
It was
I was like,
click, click, and I
okay,
was like,
and then
oh,
it
I
didn't
gotta
turn
get- I
on. So I
I
was like,
gotta go over to the switch, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna eat it.
well, no, bro, you could have went to this fucking switch because we couldn't see your ass. It
I
would have been
know.
like you were still there. But Anderson, thank you for coming in when you did, because at first it was me talking at people instead of talking in a group. And as soon as you came in, we became more talking like a group. So
Oh,
that
cool.
was good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was good.
that's true. Good
Yeah.
point.
Do you think John's gonna get pissed off of what we said? I mean, I thought we were pretty fair.
A little. Well, I think
Guess
it's
what?
Too late. It's too late for that now.
Hey,
You think a little? No, seriously.
What's
no.
he gonna do? Quit again?
who gives a
Well-
fuck? He's the one that quit.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
guys, I gotta go.
Okay.
What was the last thing you had to say, Mike?
No, I was going to say a little bit, but I don't. Yeah, we wasn't personal. You didn't
It
say it
wasn't.
personally,
It wasn't. It's just
but
you know,
but
I'm
he
not
could
gonna-
take it personal. He could take it personal
Yeah,
as well.
He will take
He,
it personal.
he probably
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be
Which-
naming the episode Dear John, like a Dear John.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
that's
that's,
bad.
that,
All right.
you rub it in his
Dearly-
face.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Okay.
Dearly departed John.
Okay.
No, no.
I'll name it the problem
You know-
with our conservatives.
No, what you should call it, fuck John and everybody else. That's quitting.
and the horse he rode in on. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the horse. That's pretty good. And the horse.
Oh no, you should name the show Liars.
Oh no.
Mm.
Yeah. No one laughed at that, Anderson. Everyone's like, oh no. How
You
about
serious?
horse and buggy?
Okay.
Horse
So
and buggy.
dumb. That's so dumb.
Sorry, I'm not naming it. Fuck John.